Hello, I'm Atwell Mukusha. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the outgoing president, the incoming president, and the Rotarians who are all present. Uh, it is such a great honor to be a guest speaker this afternoon at this momentous occasion. And I wish I was only there in person to deliver my conversation with you, which I am going to term reimagining in this pandemic. It is hard to understand what the Zimbabwean economy is right now, and because we do not know what the impact of the COVID 19 has done in the last 4 or 5 months. Today we have some cases reported, 574 confirmed cases, 415 active cases, 7 people who have lost their lives, and 152 recovered cases, according to some reliable sources. The website trackcorona.com. What we know is that we are on the decline right now, and this poses a serious challenge for us as Rotarians in the room. I believe we are all professionals from different sectors, and I do not know what you all do, but I believe we all have one thing in common. We're not doing what we used to do. Businesses are going to change, and associations like us, like ourselves, are going to have to reinvent ourselves. The new normal is here. What I'm going to share with you today is not anything complicated or prescriptive, but it's sharing ideas on how we can reimagine in the pandemic as Rotarians. Let me take this opportunity to salute the previous administration that worked tirelessly over the last year and in the old normal. I would like to salute the previous Rotarians who for over 4 or 5 decades dedicated their valuable time to help the communities around us. I should say I share the same DNA with you Rotarians. It's more than a fifth of my life I've been a volunteer, from being a club scout in my early ages, being a scout, being a member of the Interact Club at school, being a professional member within the Computer Society of Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwe Institute of Engineers, Computer Suppliers Association of Zimbabwe, the Project Management Institute of Zimbabwe, and now with the PMI here in the States, the Project Management Institute as the Vice President in our local chapter in America. Be prepared, it's our motto. It still sticks with me all the time, a motto that we used to sing during our Boy Scout movement. A quick Zimbabwe fact sheet will reveal that the business environment remains extremely weak. Since March, inflation has risen even higher, reaching 766% year on year in April 2020. This has reduced, has a big toll to that. To the real incomes where people are getting that. We also have some pervasive power cuts that are going on. Magetsi Aenda, Magetsi Awia, it's been part of our vocabulary these days, something which was not known in some years back. As a technologist, I'm so passionate about the internet usage statistics. Portras, who's the Postal and Telecommunication Regulatory Authority, reported that active users' data subscriptions had declined by 2.5% from 8.8 million to 8.6. Now, as a result, the internet penetration rate declined by 2% to reach 59% from 69%. India, Ukraine, Rwanda, one of the lowest mobile data per 1 gigabyte, selling at 60 US cents. But according to some data provided by cable.co.uk, by contrast, the most expensive nation on earth to buy mobile data is Zimbabwe, with an eye-watering average of $75 at least. The most expensive data provider charges a massive $138. This is over 230 countries that were surveyed. Let me turn on to the fact sheet on our club, onto our club, and let me take a wild guess. Membership is not significantly growing. We're working on membership. Projects are on hold and momentum is low. Meetings are now virtual and engagement is low. Does that sound familiar? You're not alone on this one. The new normal. Now we're looking from a trash to the new reality. Prioritizing work when everything is a priority. Now let's look at some real insights. Tolerances for risk, uncertainty, and ambiguity are typically factored into the club strategy and plans. How do you react when a situation surpasses tolerances and the entire club must operate differently during a global event such as COVID-19 with unprecedented kind of market conditions? We need to be driving value from our portfolio by doing the right work at the right time with the right resources. Only a thoughtful, integrated business strategy can adapt rapidly enough to changing market conditions and some of the demands that you get from your stakeholders. And it is important that we quickly reprioritize our work and our resources that we have. It is important to set priorities and make trade-offs while keeping in mind the effects on people, processes, and some of the technologies that we have gone on to learn to use. Now, some of the triggers and some of the pain points. So priorities have changed for most of our sponsoring partners. We now have discretionary spending that has changed. Our strategies have changed. Resource capacity has been appended. Now, let me walk you through my perspective. Maybe allow me to put on my project management hat right now. As Rotarians and as leaders at work, we deal with major disruptions, not only within the environment, but at work as well. But we employ a variety of tactics and frameworks to assess, prioritize, and manage complex problems. In my experience, leaders who successfully steer their organizations this time will progressively move and will be able to reset their organizations through some tactics of resilience and so on. Now, my recent discussions with the fellow professionals have identified four gates: criticality, impact, sequencing, and resourcing. Now, when you look at criticality, you're focusing on the truly urgent versus the important areas of the business. It could be, hey, I'm trying to deal with an exploding online loads, people working remotely, and new cyber threats. Every day is something new, and I need to prioritize. And when you're looking at the impacts, get a holistic view of the work based on outcomes or business capabilities across the impacted areas. Now, these are some of the two areas, and now the other one, sequencing. You're looking at prioritize what is truly urgent for today, what efforts should be paused, and where investment should be accelerated. And we need to have our sequence on our work to immediately reset the core operations and then seek to launch work that helps the business recover. And lastly, maybe the resourcing aspect, mobilize and activate our resources to support the priorities so that we put the priorities where we need to be. We need to be scalable, flexible, and agile. Now, where is Rotary Club Harare Central now? We need to have some qualifying questions to address resilience, recover, and the new reality, which is now becoming the new normal. Now, let me probably have some questions on addressing what resilience means. How will we allocate project investment differently, optimally, and efficiently during the downtime? Are you reconsidering previous selection criteria to prioritize business cases in today's environment? How are we maximizing the value of existing projects while balancing the risk? And then, is there a clear understanding of the new constraints caused by COVID-19? Are we taking stock of our pipeline of projects or programs to address deficiencies in the current portfolio? How do we quantify, compare, and reprioritize the projects in our portfolio to ensure the right resources and the right skills are allocated in the most valuable projects? Now, looking at the recovery, these are the questions that you may think. Are we making the necessary changes to allow efficiencies and effectiveness? Do we have the right resources and the skills and makes to support the changing priorities? And the third dimension that I would want to look at is looking at the new reality. How do you going to invest in your resources to ensure that winning ideas are continuously generated even during this downturn? Do we have a clear, concise governance procedure that balances the trade-offs? How do we optimize returns by ensuring that the funds are redirected to the projects that derive value and have an impact to our communities? How do we continuously align our teams on changing priorities? Now, obviously, you need to get started. Now, as with any journey, the biggest challenge can be taking that first step. Now, a club like ours can take the following actions to get started. Maybe create and validate a consolidated list of all the active work and demands. Identify complex interdependencies across the portfolio by leveraging a formal prioritization framework and governance process. You can develop some objectives and key results and reprioritize a list of new and in-flight work items that you're currently doing. Define a comprehensive schedule on how you're going to be able to deliver against it. And you should you'll be able to keep track and put in some tracking mechanisms on where you are at so that you can monitor your success and look for ways to enhance your reporting so that you understand the all general portfolio of all the work of all your projects that you actually do. Now, the question comes into mind: how now do you operate in the new normal right now, which we're talking about? People are now more focused, but the focus only sustains itself if meetings have a clear purpose. The nature of video conference discourse is different. Maybe sticking with this, which may be a problem, maybe sticking with this for a long time. Now, this is how you can virtually and still remain productive. Now, we've already acknowledged that the meetings are different, the projects will feel different, ultimately the teaming is different, but that doesn't mean that remote teams can't also be really productive. So we can create smaller and agile teams, over communicate, be transparent with our stakeholders or the communities, connect on the bigger picture, and transition, from shorter to more meaningful meetings. But above all, we should have fun in our meetings. We can kick off with some super easy and surface levels to get our team talking, and you can have some questions, amongst yourselves. What's one random thing you probably don't know about? You can ask another question. If you had a free airplane ticket anywhere in the world, where would you go? Just some conversation that you can have within a virtual kind of environment can help put people at ease and feel that they feel that you're connecting with them. You can even go much more deeper and just to get people, if you have kind of warmed up, and ask the members, what do you want your legacy to be? What was the greatest day of your life? And you could probably ask another question: what is one of your proudest moments, greatest achievements in life? And maybe who is your most inspiring person you've met? And what is your biggest work accomplishment? Those are some of the questions that you can actually be looking at. Now, in conclusion, I salute you guys. Thank you for all the service that you've done, Rotarians. You've built our communities over the years, and it is people like you that make a difference in our lives. There are people crying out there, needing legs to get from one point to the other. Let us will them. I thank you for the opportunity.